The Japanese Prime Minister and our President Trump are having a blast. I love it. Firing the squad. Oh, we can only hope. And an ex-teacher is sounding the alarm, and what she has to say, you gotta hear. All that and more coming up this morning. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. We are live on Rumble and YouTube. Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks for popping by. Appreciate that. Really don't understand it, y'all. They shut down the school Tuesday due to a heavy snowstorm and freezing temps. And yesterday we were all outside playing in shorts and sunshine, says Danny. Happy Friday. I know. It's almost like the government's controlling the weather, right? Oh, we should go there one of these days because there's all kinds of stories about that. And in some cases, they're just straight up admitting it. But yeah, okay. Anyway, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. It is indeed. It's also the first day of Hari Raya Idul Fitri. And so that is the fasting and all is over and done. And the first day of Raya is, it's here, it starts tomorrow, but technically it's over now. So there may be some fireworks in the background. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Since the Iran war began about 3 weeks ago, Trump routinely and rather accurately has been boasting about America's battlefield dominance. On almost a daily basis, he recounts how Iran's navy and missile sites, military infrastructure all been decimated or completely destroyed. He is, with very good reason, supremely confident in American arms. This week, responding to NATO allies who refused to help keep the Strait of Hormuz open, the president said, "We don't need too much help. And we don't need any help, actually." And so far as it goes, Trump is right. The United States dominating the battlefield in Iran without any help from any of the NATO allies. Thanks very much, guys. Tuesday, warplanes dropped multiple 5,000-pound deep penetrator munitions on Iran's coastal missile sites near the Strait of Hormuz. First major action in an effort to secure the straits and clear the way for thousands of commercial vessels who are now trapped in the Persian Gulf, by the way. No question of America battlefield dominance thus far in this war. But, and it's a big but, the Trump administration now faces a different kind of challenge that you're not going to qualify with missile strikes or sunken Navy ships. This paradox of U.S. strategic power is that while no nation in human history has ever been able to wield so much military might as we do right now, the American democratic system of government means the deployment of that power, that enormous power, is based almost completely on public opinion. Think about it. Now, in practice, that means that America's obvious superior military capability against Iran doesn't necessarily guarantee what military strategists call escalation dominance. The U.S. military has better weaponry than any other country, hands down. Armed forces, vastly superior in every way possible, and our industrial base dwarfs Iran's, absolutely dwarfs it. On the battlefield, there is just no doubt, it's ridiculous, American military is going to prevail, hands down, stating the obvious. But one of the lessons of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars is that escalation dominance, at least for a democratic country like us, depends in part on people having the political will, which in turn depends on public opinion. If the American people turn hard enough against a conflict, the military in the U.S. can win every single battle, and we will still lose the war. Especially salient in a conflict like the one we have right now going on in Iran. Trump admin, given multiple justifications for launching this war, contributed to a public atmosphere about a lot of confusion with the way America is aiming. Recent Washington Post poll found 65% of respondents don't think Trump and his team have clearly explained the goals of this war. I might tend to agree. The Washington Examiner, despite weeks of the admin saying what the goals are, destroy Iran's missiles and missile production, destroy its navy, ability to project power through regional proxies, and prevent it from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. So, why do so many Americans still not think Trump has explained his war aims clearly enough? Maybe because they understand the goals as stated, but they just don't find them particularly persuasive or compelling. Yeah, we understand what you're saying, but it's not enough for us, is basically what the American public is saying, which could pose an enormous problem for Trump. This war continuing into its third week, becoming very clear to those achieving our stated goals, Trump going to have to escalate in ways that risk widening or prolonging the conflict, something nobody wants, except maybe Lindsey Graham. And this is where public opinion could limit what the president can do. Reopening the Straits of Hormuz might require the invasion and the occupation of a big swath of Iran's southern coast, including the islands that make up Iran's southern maritime frontier. Now, invading and occupying that area, obviously that would require a massive deployment. U.S. ground forces. Who wants that? Not many people. Assembling that force necessary for this kind of an operation would extend that timeline by months. Once Iran's southern coast is occupied, not clear how long U.S. forces would have to stay there to keep it that way. You see where we're going with that? This is a bad sign. Even if those same polls show overwhelming support for this war among Republicans, self-identified MAGA voters. A recent NBC News poll, for example, found a whopping 90% approval among MAGA Republicans for military action in Iran, but MAGA Republicans only make up about 30% of the GOP. That's it. Among non-MAGA Republicans, that same poll showed 36% disapprove of the war. Not good numbers. It is public opinion, not military capability. That's what limits the reach of our strategic power. It always has. Men can realistically accomplish on the battlefield, and how the president decides to define what victory looks like in the end. It is public opinion that is going to change the way this war happens. All right. Do we love the new Japanese Prime Minister, or do we love the new Japanese Prime Minister? Yes, we do. See, even Miko says yes. Screaming out there. Oh, man. All right, where are we? What happened to that? Here we go. Japanese PM and Trump share a sweet moment or two. This is so cute. During the White House visit, the usual suspects, of course, are flipping out over the joke. President Trump met with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takashi at the White House on Thursday, yesterday. Takashi showed from the outset just how close that relationship is. Instead of doing a traditional handshake or bow or both when she arrived, she rushed in for a big hug. Oh, yeah, she didn't hold back at all. Take a look. He is so huge and she is so short. That's cute. So big, that guy. Man, unusual, by the way, but particularly for a Japanese leader, and a very good sign of the strength they already have in this relationship. One of the reasons they're so simpatico is that they both have a great deal of attention for the late Japanese leader Shinzo Abe. They had a press opportunity earlier in the day. They set social media going because Trump made a joke about keeping the information about a strike on Iran a secret when asked by a Japanese reporter. A rather interesting exchange. Let me let you listen into that.
Of course, no, Japan and US are very good friends. But one question, why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
Oops. Okay, maybe not politically correct, but he's got a point. Takashi didn't take anything apparently very negatively. If anything, her attitude towards Trump stayed very warm. Of course, media going to ignore that friendship and the things have been getting along so well and achieving together. Japan is supportive of the Strait of Hormuz coalition, one of the nations that signed with the Allies statement. Because of the laws in place since World War II, Japan's very limited in terms of what it can do and what help it can provide. She made it very clear they would do what they could like a real ally. She also said, among other things, that she talked about ensuring the safety of navigation in the strait and ensuring a stable supply of energy. She looked forward to close interactions with President Trump, aiming for even greater heights in the U.S.-Japan alliance. Takashi complimented Trump's son, Barron, because it was his birthday, and likely a very good move with any proud father. She is very sweet, even though she is a bit diminutive behind that podium.
I would like to start off by extending my sincere congratulations on two important anniversaries.
一つ目は、明日に控えるドナルドのご子息のバロンさんのお誕生日です。立派でイケメンに成長されていると伺っております。
The first one is a birthday celebration. Donald, tomorrow is the birthday of your son, Mr. Baron Trump. And I know he has grown up so much into a very tall, good-looking gentleman.
間違いなくご両親に似たんだと思います。
As I see you, Donald, it is very clear where he got it. Of course, from his parents, there's no doubt about it.
ぜひ私からのハッピーバースデーをお伝えいただけたら嬉しいです。
So, Donald, if I may ask you, please convey my sincere happy birthday wishes to him.
She looks like a little anime character, doesn't she? Anyway, they get along great. Everything's going well. The press hates that, of course, because they don't like any good news stories. But there you go. It is going well. We love the Japanese. Oh, man. You know what? I hadn't included this story earlier, but then when I looked into it, it's like, you have absolutely got to be kidding me about this. It's from Canada, but nevertheless, this is from the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Center. Premier officials say a convicted child killer. Yeah, if we only could all get along like that, Danny, you're right. A convicted child killer will be temporarily released from prison in Ottawa. Darren Scott Ray will get 2 more, something they call an unescorted temporary absence from prison this year. The recent temporary release of a child murderer in Durham region in Canada, drawing a lot of criticism from top officials across Ontario, with calls for the parole board to keep him locked up before he's let out again. This is insanity at its worst. Tuesday, Ontario Premier Doug Ford called for an overhaul of the system and reversal of the parole board's decision to allow 65-year-old Darren Scott Ray 3 unescorted temporary absences over the next 12 months to support his gradual reintegration into society. What? The actual what? Ford's criticism comes after Ray, who's currently serving a life sentence for the rape and murder of a 14-year-old boy back in 1986. He got a life sentence. Life means life, pal. You raped and murdered a 14-year-old boy. You don't deserve an unescorted temporary absence from prison. You deserve to be shoved in a hole, never to see the light of day again, not reintegrated into society. Obviously, you don't fit. The reason they gave him this unescorted temporary absence, what a ridiculous thing to call it, to familiarize himself with a community-based residential facility, according to a written decision from Canada's parole board back in January of this year. First-degree murder and rape of a 14-year-old boy. Temporarily released from prison, unescorted, unaccounted for. And before, his history, his criminal history, alleged sexual abuse of an ex-girlfriend, young girl, both of which Ray denied doing, was never criminally charged. This was before his first-degree murder conviction. The board also said he held distortions surrounding his sexual assault of the 14-year-old victim he murdered, not recognizing he could not give his consent. Please. Oh my God, this is insane. But they're going to do it again. They're going to let him out. Nice job, Canada. Hope you're proud of yourself. You shouldn't be. You should be freaking embarrassed. Absolutely absurd, these people. Insane. Hey, LA, how about a $17 million mortgage sting? Ouch. That's going to hurt a little bit. 9 have been arrested in a sophisticated house stealing scheme. Oh, yeah. Investigators said the group targeted elderly victims, stealing their personal identifying information and using it to get access to property records tied to homes in areas including Santa Monica, Hollywood, Hollywood Hills, Westwood, and Chinatown. The massive fraud bust, federal agents arrested 9 individuals involved in a sophisticated $17.4 million mortgage fraud scheme, successfully siphoned $6 million from private lenders. Man. The organized crime network allegedly stole the identities of elderly victims to fraudulently leverage residential properties in high-value areas like Hollywood, Santa Monica. They face a 15-count federal indictment, including wire fraud, identity theft, carrying potential sentences of up to 20 years in prison per count. Early morning crackdown led by the FBI, local law enforcement, multiple arrests tied to this sophisticated mortgage fraud scheme. It went across Southern California and beyond. Federal agents, LA police served warrants across LA County. Also related arrests in Florida and Canada. Fox 11, the only televised crew embedded with the agents at a key operation in North Hollywood. During that raid, agents surrounded a home and took one suspect into custody. The man, dressed in pajamas, walked out with his hands up before being handcuffed. A lot of luxury vehicles parked outside. Property apparently had been remodeled. Authorities say the arrest stemmed from a sweeping federal indictment unsealed this week. 9 have been arrested. 2 foreign nationals, have been charged. Those arrested, Nazareth Chakrian, 65 of Hollywood, Arnold Moradian, 57 Hollywood, Iranian national with outstanding removal warrant. The list goes on. Marine Sarkisyan, 49 from Hollywood, an Azerbaijan national, and a green card holder. Well, isn't that nice? And authorities are still searching for one possible suspect. $17 million, $17.4 million in loans. Unbelievable. Where do we get these people? Where do we get these people? All right, firing the squad. How about that? Not a bad idea. Far left toilet polls going down like the Hindenburg. As the saying goes, elections have consequences. And so does campaigning as a far-left Marxist dweller. Mau candidates around the nation bombing like the Enola Gay. Donald Trump's MAGA movement continues to skyrocket. Thank you very much. President Trump just posted CNN being forced to admit he has 100% approval rating amongst his MAGA base. Yeah, that is actually a fact. Take a look.
You know, sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you, and this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. You know, sometimes.
Kind of hard to argue with that, huh? Finally, the lefty whistle stoppers who have all this nonsense like allowing dudes in pigtails to shower next to your daughter, learning the hard way that we the people don't want their stinking cultural Marxism. Don't want it. Latest Stalinista to fall, Comrade Gene Kaczmarek, a pinko stinko from Illinois. DuPage County, Illinois clerk Gene Kaczmarek lost her re-election bid days after appearing to accidentally admit that illegals may be voting in Illinois elections. Oh, really? Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Seems Comrade Kaczmarek missed the memo, which said 71% of Democrats want voter ID to be a law of the land, have no interest in getting illegal immigrants the right to vote in our elections. Not the only turdburger in Illinois sent home weeping during her babushka. Rick Moran, writing about the blue state carnage, the left suffered a virtual total collapse in the Illinois Democratic congressional primaries Tuesday night, even in races where the AIPAC-backed candidate lost. Last night, Illinois progressive, flush with both national money and enthusiastic out-party rage against Donald Trump, running in one of the bluer states in the nation, got completely steamrolled by Governor J.B. Pritzker and the entrenched power brokers who've run that state for decades. And then, his own little delicate touch here said Pritzker and the establishment are the true Democrats. They're hardly issue-oriented. Their business is winning elections, and that's why they specifically target the crazies in order to sideline them. Like trying to hide your drunk uncle in the closet during Thanksgiving dinner. They would rather the radicals not be quite so visible when the actual business of getting power takes place. Don't forget good old Jasmine Crockett. Her little dissociative disorder, that ghetto personality recently clown-slapped out of politics in a rather commie stooge named James Tallarico, who believes meat is bad and that God is a non-binary trans person. Oh, how nice. And now is when I will remind you, or re-remind you, that Trump is killing it. We are winning. With a little luck and your help, your daughter, your granddaughter may not have to shower next to a mentally sick dude wearing waterproof lipstick. The war against homeland communist invaders crumbling, not over, but it's crumbling. We got this, folks. All hands on deck. Don't give up now. Now is the time. Man. When Mike and I voted Tuesday, every single person that came in, this is Danny in the chat, was getting a Republican ballot. I didn't think they were allowed, but the lady giving out the ballots was shouting it out, all Republican. And yet I know Pritzker will still somehow win. Sad story, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yep. Because that's the way apparently things go. What else? A judge charges changes grand jury rules. You know what? Do we want to do this story? It's a little confusing. Well, let me try. If it starts to get too much in the weeds, I'm going to give it up. This Boasberg idiot is at it again. The judge has changed the grand jury rules after Democrats avoid indictments. Chief U.S. Judge, District Judge, James Boasberg ordered a temporary change to grand jury procedure in Washington, D.C., which requires notification when juries decline to issue an indictment. That stands out for how rarely judges require formal reporting. Grand juries are designed to operate independently. They decide whether charges move forward. Behind closed doors, limited visibility even to the courts themselves, judges oversee the process, but very broadly. They don't try typically to require formal reporting when a case ends but no charges get filed. This idiot's order changes the whole dynamic of the system. The court finds that notification should be provided to the duty magistrate judge whenever a grand jury fails to concur in an indictment, regardless of whether the defendant has already been charged. This doesn't make those decisions public. It requires formal reporting to a magistrate judge and makes a record where before none might have existed, brings the court one step closer to grand jury outcomes. Making sense? Shouldn't be, but it's making sense. Even under seal, this shift is very, very significant. Grand jury secrecy has been treated as a core feature of the whole system. When a case ends without an indictment, typically, it just quietly goes away. The order requires, this new thing from this idiot judge, requires a notice every time. Now, the timing of this really is what stands out. Listen, this order follows a failed effort by federal prosecutors to secure indictments against 6 Democrat members of Congress over statements urging military personnel to reject unlawful orders. You remember the idiot 6? Those charges did not materialize. No indictments returned in spite of the federal prosecutors' push. And shortly after, the court imposed a new rule requiring visibility into those kinds of outcomes. The judge framed this order as temporary, order remaining in effect for 120 days, during which time the court will consider the adoption of a local rule requiring such notifications. Temporary does not mean insignificant. Even a trial run, it raises a basic question: why now? And this Boasberg's track record, he's repeatedly ruled against Trump and his administration, placing him right dab in the center of a multiple high-profile legal fight time after time. This order follows a failed attempt to charge Democrat lawmakers, which is going to draw a lot of scrutiny, I promise you. There we go with the fireworks. Every time. Oh, here's a good one for you. 190 Democrats voted against deporting illegal alien police dog abusers. Let me say that again. 190 Democrats have voted against deporting illegal alien police dog abusers. Look, if you're a good person, you love animals, no doubt about it. Man's best friend occupies a very special place in our hearts. Dogs, unlike a lot of other domestic animals, aren't just pets or working animals. They are companions. They work with us. They hunt with us. They guard our families, at times even take on evil people in order to protect us. The relationship between Canis lupus familiaris and Homo sapiens, that would be the dogs in us, has a very long history. You can't buy love? Well, you obviously never had a puppy. So, when 190 House Democrats passed a vote favoring illegal aliens over dogs, that reveals a whole lot. More and more loving Bill Melugin. 190 House Democrats voted against a bill today that would make non-citizens eligible for deportation if they're convicted of harming police animals, including dogs and horses. 190 Democrats in the House voted against that. All Republicans voted yes. 15 House Democrats appreciated dogs, and that's it. 15. Not to mention other police animals, including horses, other animals that have served humanity with distinction for hundreds of years. Honestly, who the heck votes no on a proposal like this? We can point out this shouldn't be necessary, and anybody in the country illegally for any reason should be deported without delay. I would maintain this is precisely what should happen. Sometimes laws like this are required to get a particular sort of goblin's bump to the head of the line. Be that as it may, we are still left with the baffling conclusion that obviously 190 Democrats of the United States House of Representatives voted to place the interests of not only illegal aliens, illegal alien criminals who have harmed a loyal, faithful, highly trained, dedicated police animal over those animals. It's a head scratcher, folks. Democrats, in general, been putting the interests of illegal aliens over Americans for years. You saw it at the State of the Union address. They promote the interests of illegals over American kids, American students, poor Americans, Americans with property along our national borders. Now, putting the interest of illegal aliens over police animals. This is today's Democratic Party, folks. You proud of that? You happy with that? No wonder their approval ratings as a party are somewhere between pond scum and cockroaches. Still muster enough members in the House of Rep, the Senate, several state legislatures to make an absolute pain in the ass of themselves. And yet again, this is an election year, I will remind you. And again, I'm going to keep reminding you of that fact from now until November. Another reason why this fall's midterms are so insanely critical. Many reasons, but there is just another one. Insane. We are living in bizarro world, okay? Got another one. How long is this cut? Minute 17. Okay, worth the time. I don't know if there's music behind this or not. If there is, I may have to mute it. But this is This is the coolest thing I've seen in a while. I've seen other people do this, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody do this for as long. Okay. Enough talking around the subject. Don't bury the lead. This YouTuber took a picture of himself every single day for 22 years. From the age of 25 to 47 years old. Here he is at 25. And in a minute and 17 seconds, you will see him 22 years later. Watch this. Wow. That is insane. Look at the hairstyles change. Crazy. He's stuck with the same glasses for a long time. Wow. And there he is. Let's go to the last shot. There we go. Wow. How nuts is that? Every single day for 22 years. First of all, wow, that's dedication. Can you imagine? But what an amazing transformation. When you see him, look at here. There he is. And then after 22 years, he's there. That's crazy. You're right, actually, Danny. He aged very well. You're right. He actually did. He's a handsome guy. And after 22 years, 47 years old, still looking good. All right. Hey, we're going to wrap it. Thank you. It has been a wonderful week. I really appreciate you all being here. Please follow the show. Subscribe over on YouTube. We're live there, too. And we hope to have your patronage and our sponsors. They're all down under the show notes. You can also just send us a donation if you like to our PayPal account. It's over there also listed. And check them out. All right. We will see you back here on Monday. It's the weekend. Spend it with someone you love. And I'll see you Monday morning, 9 a.m. for the Jay Sheldon Show.